Hello YouTube land, it's Grinder McGee back with another knife video. I say that I'm back with another knife video because I've been gone for a long time, but I wanted to come back right now with a new knife that I'm just really excited about and give everybody on YouTube a chance to call me a moron and say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and this isn't real knife use. I know that seems to be all that the YouTube knife community is about, is just putting others down and not really coming together as a community. I don't know if other communities are like that, arts, jewelry makers, fountain pen aficionados, I just don't know. But I'm still into knives, so I just wanted to make this video. But I got this new cold steel Master Hunter in the CPM 3V steel. This freaking knife is amazing. I've had Master Hunters in the past, they just really didn't float my boat. They've come and gone through my hands. Maybe this one will be the same way. But I wish I had another one here to compare to. But with this one, what we've got that I noticed right off the bat is it has a more pronounced distal taper than the other previous versions. It's not quite as thick on the tip as you might expect from this knife, which is something I really appreciate because the hard use thing and this one knife survival thing is not really what I'm all about. It's still utility. That's how people use knives. I don't know why. I mean, reviewers go out and whoop on them just for the sake of it, but guys who are really, using knives on a daily basis, if you know how to use a knife, you're really just using it to cut things. And if it's really thick, especially near the tip, you're having a difficult time doing things that require detail and stuff like that. I think I've gone on long enough with my bearing my soul about the knife community thing. Here's another knife that's quite similar. That I use a lot for this type of thing as well. I notice you see the carrots and the potatoes in the background. We'll get to those here in a second. It's the Pendleton Hunter Light. This knife is so fantastic, but it's made from the Krupp surgical stainless steel, which holds an edge relatively well. I find this knife quite easy to sharpen, and that's the one thing about the CPM 3V, is that if I would have got this knife in my hand and it would not have been sharp out of the box and it would have required an immediate sharpening or reprofiling of the edge, it wouldn't have been a purchase for me. I picked it up for around $100 from a wonderful knife dealer and personal friend of mine, Mike Sastry, who is a dealer of cold steel products, comes through the Indianapolis area every now and then. He has a company called River City Sheaths. Please go check him out at rivercitysheaths.com or at the Cold Steel forums where this video is posted, maybe Blade forums as well. But I just kind of wanted to share this knife with you. It's kind of a newer offering from Cold Steel. I'm not really going to go outside and whip it through any logs or beat on the back of it with a hammer or stab it into a piece of wood and see if I can pry up wood chunks. But I'm going to do something that I know how to do, which is chop up vegetables. Then I'm going to take my sweet ass time with it. I notice I'm already 3 minutes into the video. I haven't cut a damn carrot yet. So we'll just get to that and we'll go over some of the specs and stuff of the knife. So this Cold Steel Master Hunter has a blade of about 4.5 inches. It's got an overall length of about 9.25, something like that. And of course, I already mentioned it's made out of the CPM 3V. I'm just having a blast cutting up these carrots, so now I'm losing my train of thought already. But what I noticed, one thing about the profile of this knife, it has a little more belly, and I don't know if you can see it. It has a little more belly than that old Sanmai 3 knife. And that was something that really brought me to this knife, because when you resharpen a knife, you kind of end up getting this dip back here, or you'll get a dip somewhere, but usually it's back here where you're doing the most hard cutting, especially when you're whittling and stuff. You'll tend to dull the knife back here. And so I thought that adding this belly in here, not only it promotes the slicing capability of it, but it also prolongs the useful life of this knife by giving you a spot where when you resharpen it, that you actually have more steel on this knife. Now I'm already noticing that this knife is performing much up to my expectation just from the visual inspection of it. Here's a knife that I use a lot in the kitchen. It's a cheesy ass Chicago cutlery knife. It's just a 6-inch utility knife, high carbon steel. We'll look at it side by side here, and you'll see that the Master Hunter is quite thick, is quite a bit thicker. And of course this one I sharpen on a kitchen steel, super easy to sharpen. But although it does slide through somewhat easier here, I'm still not having too much problems with the Master Hunter, which is, I wouldn't say it's surprising, but it's definitely enjoyable to sit here and chop up these vegetables with this knife here. Hold on, I'm going to get through some carrots real quick because I got a butt ton of carrots to do. And guys, especially in the YouTube community, if your wife is kind enough to cook you a roast for dinner, and you think that she should do all the prep work and cut up and peel all the potatoes and chop up all the carrots, then you are a douchebag. So please feel free to leave a comment about how I personally insulted you, and you're going to find out where I live on the YouTube comments. That's something I appreciate a lot. I really love the YouTube community for how we come together, how we always are coming together in the name of knife use and togetherness. You see, I'm sweeping all my sweeping all the chopped up carrots into the sink right now. But man, that is sweet. Here, let's do a couple potatoes. I see my battery's about to die. Why wouldn't it? So I think I'm just going to do potatoes in fours. Normally I will go a little bit quicker and maybe even line them up. But wow, that's pretty. That feels awesome, you know? Yeah, that feels really good. I like that. I think I might even do them smaller just because of that. Even though there's no need to. Oh yeah, she's going to love me for this. But I don't know about the rust resistance on CPM 3V. Is it? I know it's a high-speed cutting steel that they use in the tooling industry. Perhaps the chemical content or the composition doesn't really, you know, concern me all that much, guys. It's just really like, it's the thing, edge holding. Everything is a compromise. So if you want a knife that's easy to sharpen, then you're going to have a knife that holds its edge not as long. If you want a knife that holds its edge for a very long time, then you're probably going to have a knife that's not so easy to sharpen. So understand that compromise, and when you're shopping for a knife, don't look for the one that holds the edge the longest, because even if you don't like sharpening and you don't want to learn how to sharpen, you're going to have to sharpen that knife unless you're just using it for just to do a YouTube demonstration video to sell something through your website. It's a bunch of bullcrap. I'm really tired of seeing it all the time, and so and I'm sorry for having to put you through, you know, listening to me bitch and complain about it on this YouTube video that you've been so kind to check out. Let's get some slicing action going here. Whack, whack, whack. I know that I'm mostly chopping here, but this knife is actually pretty good at slicing. Before my battery goes totally dead here, give you a nice little in-screen shot of that knife. Ooh, Master Hunter, so nice. 4.5 inches. I know a lot of people compare it to the Falconiven F1, which is a little bit smaller of a knife. I have one out in the other room. You can see other YouTube videos of the comparison of those. A little shorter in the handle, about 1 inch shorter in the blade. I do like the Falconiven. It would be a better knife if you were carrying it around on your belt all day, every day. I can say that just because it's smaller and thinner in profile. That was pretty smooth. But as far as, you know, holding it in my hand right now and using it, I can say that I definitely like the Master Hunter. The out-of-box sharpness on this knife is definitely better than the Falconiven when I got it, even though it was slightly a user. You know, your convex edge, I don't think, at least, is as good for kitchen processes like slicing up these vegetables. But who knows? Just so that I can give you another comparison, I know I showed you that cheesy Chicago cutlery knife. This is my other favorite knife in the kitchen. It's a paring knife by Rada Cutlery. It's a U.S. company. I believe they're U.S. company 100%. Yeah, it says right on the little stamp there. This knife is crazy. This knife is amazing. It's so paper thin, and it's actually quite flexible. This is the one my girl uses. She cuts up everything in the kitchen, and it always bounces back on the kitchen steel. So you don't have to spend $100 on a knife. This knife is around $100. I think they're going for $90 to $105 on eBay and Amazon, similar sites. You don't have to spend that much, but if you like knives, you will end up spending that much, and possibly even more, just in the name of the experience. But don't spend that much because that you think you're getting something of an exceptional quality that you can't receive in something that you can get at a big box store, because that's not necessarily the case. Though usually if they have components that fit together, you're suffering there, and you're going to maybe get a splinter or a pinch. Like, look at the handle in this Chicago cutlery, and it's not a video about a Chicago cutlery, but it's got the tang is raised above these pieces of plastic. It's got little gaps here. It kind of pisses me off to hold this knife if I'm sitting here chopping up veggies for that long. And of course, you know the other knife. I showed you a Pendleton Light, but my other most favorite knife in the kitchen is right over here. Is the Mora. Of course, the Mora, a staple, and really one of the reasons. It doesn't do so good in the kitchen though. It does a lot better at utility. This is basically my cardboard knife, and the one that cuts through all those blister packs. It is quite sharp, but just due to the nature of this grind terminating so early, then the full thickness of the blade has to pass through the rest of the material. Unlike on this knife, which is a full flat grind, and what you're getting is a very gradual tapering from the termination of this cutting bevel all the way up to the spine, which yields a lower drag situation, which I find is just really ideal for slicing. And I'm no top chef by any means. Usually I would have all this stuff done by now, but I'm trying not to go through a lot of dead air. I don't like watching videos where there's a lot of dead air. I haven't had any practice filming this video yet. Obviously, I only have so many vegetables to chop up, but I hope that gives you guys a little glimpse into you know, your potential purchase of this knife, and maybe some things that it could be useful for outside of the wilderness survival, chopping up firewood role, which I definitely think that it could do. Hey, sorry about that. I knew that the battery was going to die, but I just thought I would be able to spout off all my ideas fast enough. I think the last thing I was talking about was wood preparation regarding the Master Hunter, which I do think that it would perform admirably at, though I don't think that it's finely tuned for a specific duty like wood processing. It being the Master Hunter, I think maybe it's more geared towards this slicing capability, which is why I've chosen to do this cut and talk with some vegetables, some media that I can slice through. I think it would perform admirably in the wood preparation category, but I would like to run you through some other knives that I think would do a better job, as they are more specifically suited to that. Of course, we already went through the Mora Companion, which freaking excellent knife. It's just got to be hands down my favorite utility knife of all time, and they cost dirt cheap, which is just icing on the cake for that excellent package. Here's one that they charge quite a bit more for, probably because it's got this awesome I don't know if it's a DLC coating, but it is definitely very similar to the DLC coating on this Master Hunter 3V, the Mora Black. Yeah, I want you to take a specific note of the thicknesses in these knives, and how the Master Hunter is a little thicker, but you'll notice as we go down this knife that the Master Hunter tapers to a very fine point, unlike this Mora Black, which I do find the robust grind does make it better for the wood splitting and the making shavings and stuff. Though this knife is not specifically the best one that I've ever had. The Companion is definitely better. This one has a more robust design for the survival-minded enthusiast. Yeah, I think definitely for shaving wood and all-around slicing capability, this Mora, which is also the Mora Bushcraft, it's just not the black version. It has you know, a blade that's half as thick and even very much thinner toward the tip there. You can see, I hope you can see, that really, if you're not going to abuse your knife and do those exhibition type stunts with it, this knife is just so fantastic. Though I still like the Companion's handle better. This is a very comfortable rubber handle. That's not to take away from my Master Hunter 3 CPM3V here, which is just got to be my new favorite knife in this size range. Another one that people love to compare this to in the past. You know, that being the Master Hunter from Cold Steel is the Falk knife in F1, which is made out of a laminate VG10 steel. It's 3.5-inch blade. Looks like here identical size handles, just an inch shorter blade. But you see what I mean when I said earlier about carrying this knife all day, every day. This one's going to be a more comfortable carry just because of the bulkiness and blockiness of this handle. Makes it more comfortable in hand for periods of long use. But where, look at the thickness as well. But where this knife really shines in this slicing, especially from our demonstration here, this knife does not do that so much because of this convex grind. It retained more material and more material throughout the grind, whereas this knife has a much more gradual tapering of material from behind the cutting edge, where it's very thin, all the way back. It's ground all the way, with the thickest part being at the spine, and then a gradual thinning all the way down to the edge. This knife does have a thinning, as you can see by the grind line there. It is ground from nearly the spine all the way down to the edge of the knife, but it still retains more material right here behind the cutting edge. You know, when somebody's referring to the convex grind of a knife, that is what they're referring to, where when you're slicing through something like vegetables, right when it passes by the cutting edge, that is where the knife tends to separate that material. And rather than using the simple machine of the wedge to slice from cutting edge all the way to the spine and then terminate that, it tends to want to really wedge it apart right back here. Great for wood. It helps the edge hold up really well when you're cutting through harder materials and more fibrous materials, whereas this one is better for you know, softer, more organic materials. But even so, this is a great knife. One more that I'd like to pull out here to compare to, and I could compare this to other knives as well. Let's say the SE4, definitely not as sharp out of the box. Still a wonderful knife. I know it's a highly regarded knife made out of 1095 US made in the community here. Another knife, the Becker BK16. Once again, I think they make it out of their 1095 Crovan high carbon steel. Another highly regarded knife, definitely nowhere near as sharp out of the box. It required a full reprofile to be anywhere close. And really, I know that these are assembled in Taiwan. It does, I know the steel is American. It does seem that the blade is actually made in the United States. I don't know why I want to say that, but I've had the Japanese knives in the past, and just the fine tuning of those blades, you can tell, is just so expert. And I'm seeing the same thing with this one. The fine tuning of this grind, you know, the edge of a knife, not something you can see on a cheesy camera, but in hand and in use, it's definitely something that you're going to notice. Is that Japanese knife was just so excellent. And you know, some of the master hunters I've had in the past, of course this is my favorite of them, but the Japanese knives were always a step above the rest. I can't wait to see some more of the CPM3V offerings from Cold Steel. If they share this same fine-tuning and refinement, I'm going to have to double down and own multiples of some of my favorite knives in my collection from Cold Steel. You know, just to wrap it up here, here's some grapes. I just completed a CPR training course this last week. Feel free to tell me how much of a shithead I am in the comments once again for doing something stupid and fucking idiotic like trying to be trained in CPR techniques and other first aid stuff. But they told me that grapes, hot dogs, of course, were the #1 thing that children choke on. I have 2 little kids, and grapes were the other thing. So not being sarcastic at all here, I do think it is kind of a douchebag thing to sit here and slice grapes in half. And of course I don't slice grapes in half for my kids all the time, but wow, when they said that grapes were really high on the list of things for things that kids choke on, it did make me want to see, will my kids even eat grapes sliced in half? I don't even know. But I thought that it would be a because it seems weird, right? And that's part of the fun is you pop them in your mouth and and that's the texture of a grape. It's really cool. But I did think that it was a good exhibition of the knife's cutting potential here. I'm going to zoom in real close on this grape so that you can see the fine detail work that the master hunter can perform on this grape. Sing like a laser beam, am I right or what? Okay, I think I've sliced up enough grapes and really sliced up enough of everything in the kitchen today. But if I had to talk about one more thing with this knife, of course, we already covered the highly functional aspect of it. You're not most likely going to leave it in the drawer of your kitchen. You're also probably not going to carry it around as a bare blade in your hand. So if we had to talk about one more thing, it'd be the sheath, which I think Cold Steel offers some of the best synthetic sheaths on the market. It's a Securex sheath. It's adjustable in the length of the loop here, and of course you don't have to take your belt off to take this sheath off. That's really appreciated. I usually like to carry them on a G-clip inside the waistband. But as far as when I would be wearing and carrying this knife for utility purposes, this is going to be just a fine alternative for that. It even has a secondary option for retention here. The first one being these little humps in here, which the rubber handle has to squeeze by. Sorry, excuse me. But well, there you go. Once again, thanks to everybody for checking out the video. I want you to check out my good buddy Mike Sastry. He's a sheath maker out of Ohio. This is where I purchased this Master Hunter from. He comes through Indianapolis for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. I just saw him this last weekend. He'll be back in Indy October 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And next week, October 9th, 10th, and 11th, he'll be in Knob Creek at the machine gun shoot that they have down there. A really fun time. If you're in the area, please go check him out. River City Sheaths. Well, I guess that's about all for now. I'd like to thank everybody for checking in and watching my video, and any comments or constructive criticism you leave would be highly appreciated. I'd also like to thank you for sitting through some of the background noise that I know the cutting board and the sink were making, as well as some of my gripes and venting my frustrations about the knife community. I definitely am excited for this new knife that I picked up, and I think it would be a great purchase for any of you guys out there, whether you're big game hunters, wilderness guys, or if you're just helping your wife in the kitchen to prepare some dinner for tonight. I think it'd be a great option for you. So once again, thanks so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate participating in these conversations with everyone. So for now, goodbye and take care.